So folks, if you would please join me in welcoming a defender of conservatism in a bastion of liberalism, Dr. Mary Grabar.
Thanks for the great welcome, and I also appreciate your adjusting your schedules to come today. I was teaching yesterday, so I teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm hoping, I had to clear something up on the radio program. I'm not a full professor, as Mike said. I'm a part-timer. I'm actually not employed by Emory. I'm paid for by a private grant, and I teach a couple sections of freshman composition, and they're in the program American Democracy and Citizenship. And that's one way that conservatives and even moderates are getting a diversity of opinions on campuses is through these privately funded programs. I don't know, how many of you heard Dr. Benjamin Carson's speech? Yeah, wasn't that great? I snuck it in and I showed my class because we were reading Alexis de Tocqueville, so it fit in, it did fit in. But Emory has the distinction of having a petition to keep him from being the keynote speaker or being the speaker at the commencement. I think it was last spring. Anybody hear about that? My colleagues sent around a petition. They did not want him to speak at Emory because of his views on evolution. So here we have one of the most brilliant minds in medicine. They didn't want him there. I do have a number of colleagues who are supportive, and that was how I got hired into this program. So I do want to give them credit and give credit to those few remaining who are getting older and older, who are still in academia, and who do want a diversity of voices. I started Dissident Prof about 1.5 years ago. I wanted to start a site. I was talking with a friend, and I kept thinking of names, and I came up with Dissident. And it kind of has this Soviet feel to it. And I thought, well, that's appropriate, considering that my parents escaped from communist Yugoslavia when I was 2 years old, literally, went across the river in the middle of the night, left Tito's Yugoslavia, and I feel like I am a dissident in an institution that has become, very much as close-minded as the Soviet Union. And my mother always asks me, well, why don't you get full-time employment? What's wrong? And I say, well, I'm surrounded by communists, and that's it. She doesn't speak English that well, so I can't say, well, the postmodernist, the deconstructionist, the, political correctness, so that's what I tell her. But anyway, I thought what I'd do is, this is really a two-part talk. I'd start off by giving you some observations, part of which are in my book, Exile, that's back there. And I do have more copies in the car, so don't worry about, that there aren't enough. So I hope people buy copies, not so much because of my writing, but because there are 6 essays from other people who have been exiled, who've been silenced, and who are teaching sometimes on the margins. They're adjuncts like I am, or they're people, their colleagues won't have dinner with them at conferences and so forth. And they've got some amusing essays there, and it'll give you an insight about what's going on in academia these days and what it's like and how people are silenced simply because they don't agree with the dominant politically correct view. And I'm so glad to hear Dr. Carson talk about political correctness. And I had my students listen to that. But it was relevant, the Tocqueville, remember, if anyone asks. Okay, so my talk, see this a little bit. What I've done is I've kind of looked at how academics portray the Tea Party. and what the reality is, and the way they present the Tea Party. And I've done a little bit of research, and so I gave this kind of a whimsical title, How I View This Means the Tea Party, a review of decidedly unscientific studies. Given a pseudo-academic title there, we can go on to the next one. Okay, what I found is that liberals are very confused. They don't know what the Tea Party is. And one of the most confused liberals is this young man here. Anybody know who he is? Okay, he writes, pardon me? I don't know. All right, well, he's supposed to be this boy wonder genius. That's a picture of him at the age of 26. He's now 28, I believe, and he writes for the Washington Post. He's also a host of MSNBC. And sometimes when I'm at the gym, I'll look over at the TV monitor with MSNBC, and I go faster on the bike. But this is Ezra Klein, okay? And there was an article just last week in the New Republic about what a genius he is. And, he's this new star. We can go to the next one. And this is what he wrote in 2010, this boy wonder genius. This is a quote from him. The Constitution is not a clear document. It was written 100 years ago when America had 13 states and very different problems. It rarely speaks to the questions we ask it. Okay? I don't know what school he went to. I think he went to one of the Ivies. And this glowing article about him was titled, Ezra Klein, the Wise Boy, A Tale of Striving and Success in Modern-Day Washington. This was in the New Republic just last week. And so he says the Constitution is confusing because it's old. Okay, so that's an example of what they think of as being very right. We'll go on to the next one. Okay. So, we have someone who calls the Constitution a liberty document. The next one? Well, I wonder what happened to that picture. Anybody know who said that the Constitution is a glorious liberty document? I don't know what happened to that photo. It just disappeared.
Censored.
Ah, there we go. What do you There's magic in that computer. I couldn't figure out how to work the flash drive. I bought a new flash drive, so that's technically illiterate I am. But everyone recognizes this man, right?